The Velveteen Rabbit, adapted from Margaret Williams Bianco, presented by The Forest Friends. Even Velveteen Rabbit's tail was becoming loose. All the paint was rubbing off the nose when the boy touched it. Spring had finally arrived. So had long days in the garden. Wherever the boy went, so too went the rabbit. She had rides in the wheelbarrow and picnics on the grass. Behind the flower garden, the boy had a little hut made in the trees. The boy was called away suddenly to go inside for tea. The rabbit was left out on the lawn until long after dusk. Nana had to come and look for the rabbit very late at night. The boy couldn't go to sleep unless she was there. The rabbit was all wet with dew, and she smelled a little earthy from diving into the grass. Nana grumbled as she rubbed her off the corner of her apron. "You must have your old rabbit? Fancy all that fuss for a toy," she said. The boy sat up on his bed and stretched out his hands. "Give me my rabbit," the boy said. "You mustn't say that. She's not a toy." "She is real," he exclaimed. When the Velveteen Rabbit heard that, she was so happy. She knew that what the Skin Horse said could be true. The nursery magic had happened to her. She was no longer a toy. She was in fact real. The boy himself said it. The boy was almost too happy to sleep. There was so much love stirred in the rabbit's sawdust heart. It almost burst with joy. Her button eyes had lost their shine. Even Nana noticed the next morning when she picked her up and said, "Well now, doesn't that rabbit look like it understands something?" That was a wonderful summer. Near the boy's house, there was a forest. in the long evenings in June. The boy liked to go explore. He took the Velveteen Rabbit with him. Before the boy wandered off to pick flowers or play among the trees, the boy always made the rabbit a grass nest somewhere along the edge of the forest. She felt quite cozy lying there, for the boy was very kind-hearted. He liked the rabbit to be comfortable. One evening, while the rabbit was lying there alone, between her two velvet paws in the grass, she saw two strange creatures creeping out at the edge of the forest towards her. They looked like rabbits, same as her, but they had a nice fur coat that looked brand new. They must have been very well made. Their stitching and seams didn't show at all. They changed shape whenever they moved. One minute they were long and thin. The next minute a little chubby and bunchy. Instead of always staying the same like she did, their feet padded softly on the ground. They crept up quite close to her, twitching their noses. The Velveteen Rabbit stared hard to see which side the clockwork handles were. She knew that toys could jump. They usually have something to wind them up. She couldn't see anything on the hairs. They were some kind of new Velveteen Rabbit model altogether. The two hares stared at her, and the toy rabbit stared back. All while the two hares' noses started to twitch even more. "Why don't you get up and play with us?" one of the hares asked. "I don't feel like it," said the rabbit. She didn't want to explain that she had no clockworks and no gears. "Yo," said the other hare. "It's as easy as anything, a hop and a skip," said the other hare. And then they gave a big hop sideways. Zigzagging through the grass towards the rabbit. "I don't believe she can move," the hare said. "I can," said the rabbit. "I can jump higher than anything," she said. But she meant when the boy threw her. Of course, she didn't want to admit it to the hares. "Can ya hop on one of your hind legs?" asked the one hare. That was a dreadful question. The Velveteen Rabbit had no moving legs at all. The back of her was made in all one piece, like a pincushion. She sat still in the grass. She was hopeful that the other hares wouldn't notice her legs. "I don't want to," she said once again. But the wild hares have very sharp eyes. This one stretched out his neck and looked right at the Velveteen Rabbit. "She can't move her legs," he called out. "Fancy a hare without any moving legs," said the other hare. And the both hares began to laugh and tease her. "I do have legs," cried out the rabbit. "Look at my legs! I'm sitting on them." "Then stretch them out and show me like this," the laughing hare said. The hares began to whirl around and dance until the Velveteen Rabbit got dizzy. "I don't like dancing," she said. "I'd rather sit still." But all the while, she was longing to dance. She felt like she would give anything in the world to jump just like these hares did. The hare stopped dancing and came quite close to the rabbit. The hare suddenly wrinkled his nose. Flattening the ears and then jumping backwards. "She doesn't smell right," the hare said. "She isn't even a real hare," said the other. "I am real," said the Velveteen Rabbit. "I am real. The boy said so." All while this happened, she began to cry. Just then, there was a sound of footsteps heading towards them. The boy was stomping in his rain boots. Ran past the two hares. Without any notice, the two strange hares disappeared. "Come back and play with us," called out the one hare. "Oh, do come back." "I know I'm real," said the Velveteen Rabbit. But there was no more response. Only little ants walking along the tall grass. The Velveteen Rabbit was all alone again. "Oh dear," she thought. "Why did they run away like that? Why couldn't they stop and talk to me?" she thought. For a long time, she lay very still, watching the edge of the forest. She was hopeful that the hares would come back, but they never returned. The sun sank low, and the little moths began to flutter out. The boy came and carried the Velveteen Rabbit home. Weeks passed, and the rabbit grew older and very shabby. The boy still loved her very much. He loved her so hard that all of her whiskers were falling off, and held her ears until the pink lining turned gray. She began to lose shape. She scarcely looked like a rabbit anymore, except to the boy. To him, she was always beautiful. And that's all the little rabbit cared about. She didn't mind how she looked to other people, because the nursery magic had made her finally real.